the science is there. There is nothing that you can get from meat that you cannot get from plants.
Yeah,
and
wow.
that is the important thing. Meat for protein comes from plants originally.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, if you think about it, all it is light from the sun, hitting the ground, photosynthesis and growing trees, and then someone eats that plant. So it's just light energy. We're all made up of the same thing.
Hey guys, it's Benny here from Garden of Vegan, and today I'm with Andrew Little, a doctor from the Gold Coast of Australia, also a new father, and Andrew and his family incorporate a whole food plant-based diet in their lifestyle, and also Dr. Andrew recommends a whole food plant-based lifestyle. Now, Dr. Andrew, you're an extremely busy man, and we want to thank you for coming today. Now, why are you taking time out of your busy schedule to help us promote health throughout Australia and also for our planet?
Well, Benny, I honestly think that there has never been a time, and I believe this with my hand on the heart, that there has never been a time more important in the history of humankind where the evolution to a plant-based diet is more important, and our planet is really struggling, and it is the only diet that is going to help that. Now, I think probably for me personally, evolving to a plant-based diet, it's tricky, and it's meat and dairy and these animal products are a culture that's so deeply ingrained in us. It's in our blood.
Definitely.
But there's probably three big questions that I asked myself, and I think a lot of people ask themselves when they're transitioning to a plant-based diet. And the first thing is, will I survive on a plant-based diet?
Definitely.
As in, will I get all the nutrients I need? We're told time and time again, as a young boy I was, that we need meat for protein, and we need calcium from dairy. You've heard that a million times. The second thing that I think you ask yourself is, the human brain needs meat to survive, because we think that meat made the human brain evolve, and I know this was certainly something that I thought, and it was a way I sort of justified eating meat and dairy too. But the more I looked into it, the more I realised there was no science to back that up. In fact, it's quite the opposite.
Okay, wow.
And I think the final thing you ask yourself, and I think a lot of people don't think about it until they're a little bit older, and their health is starting to decline. I think, what is the healthiest diet, and what diet is going to make me live to a ripe old age of 100? And that's important, but I genuinely believe that the most important question to ask is, what diet is going to preserve this beautiful planet for future generations like my little boy? And that is the most important question.
Yep, definitely. And as a doctor, I guess, there's a lot of us that think exact same things what you said. And as a doctor yourself, even you thought those things. So,
mate, I completely agree. I hit roadblocks all the time. So my background is I went vegetarian for about sort of 5 or 6 years, and I've been plant-based for 3 years now. But through that transition, and I genuinely believe it's almost a journey for a lot of people, and you start to go on that journey. People progress through it at different rates. But I came across so many roadblocks where I was like, oh no, where am I going to get my B12 from? Where am I going to get my protein from? Where am I going to get calcium from? Where am I going to get all this from? How am I going to survive? But I have never felt better in my whole life than I do now. I've never felt more fulfilled, because the decisions I make every day benefit the planet, and they benefit my own health, and they benefit the animals. So
100%. And I guess furthering from that topic, is a whole food plant-based diet healthy for kids? Because I know this is a topic that we hear, and I'm sure you have, from people all across the world. Can kids be healthy eating a whole food plant-based diet?
Yeah, 100%. So, Benny, this is the most irrational part of my life. When I remember this about probably 4 years ago, when my wife and I we were vegan, we were plant-based, and I said to my wife, well, I think that a plant-based diet is the healthiest for you, but I said, I'm not going to bring our kid up on a plant-based diet. And my wife looked at me and said, well, you need to work that out right now, because I'm very passionate about it. And I was like, yeah, you're right. And Oh, for some crazy reason, I honestly thought that it was healthiest for me, but it wasn't right for my little boy.
Yep.
But this little guy is just thriving, and the more I looked into it, the science is there. There is nothing that you can get from meat that you cannot get from plants.
Yeah,
and
wow.
that is the important thing. Meat for protein comes from plants originally.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, if you think about it, all it is light from the sun, hitting the ground, photosynthesis and growing trees, and then someone eats that plant. So it's just light energy. We're all made up of the same thing.
Yep.
And like I said, there's nothing you can get from meat that you can't get from plants. And my little boy is just living proof of that. He's just a ball of plant protein.
Yeah.
And mate,
Yeah.
he's making leaps and bounds. He's walking at 10 months, and
wow.
you know, he's doing so well. His head, you know, people worry about the development of the human brain. His head is like literally 1.5 centimeters off the scale. It's massive.
Really?
So, you know, there's no problems there,
Wow.
mate. He's fine.
And how old's your young fella now?
He's 15 months, almost
Wow.
16 months now.
He's killing
it. Yeah. And mate, every day I am blown away by him, and I am more convinced that a plant-based diet is absolutely fine. You know, you just need to eat a broad range of fruit and vegetables. Even my wife, Sarah, she was vegan throughout. She's been vegan since she was like 17, 18. But she followed a plant-based diet through her whole pregnancy. She looked amazing. I'm biased, by the way. She looked amazing, and she delivered that little guy so amazingly well, and he thrived because of her. And even now through her, she wasn't, she had like low iron, but that's the thing. We have this obsession with iron, but she was never iron deficient. She was never deficient in any nutrients. You know, she's been breastfeeding for ever since she was born, so 16 months now, and she's got all the nutrition she needs. And you know, so from a pregnancy point of view and a baby point of view from development, it is absolutely fine. I get people telling me all the time. I see articles in the paper saying, vegan parents, it's a form of cruelty, you should go to jail and stuff like that. That really hurts me, because I know that I'm doing the best thing I can for my little boy, in particular preserving the next generation for him, you know. And but there is no question, it is absolutely safe for kids. Yeah, well, and I guess that moves us on to, two other subjects. Is that there's a lot of health professionals out there that are giving, it's almost like you go to a different health professional and you get a different answer. Yeah. And I guess that's where the research and the knowledge comes into play. Not everything you learn from a basis level is correct. Yeah. And I think when we talk about, say, I guess later on in the program we're going to talk about iron and calcium. When we talk about deficiencies or low, there's people out there eating loads of meat, loads of calcium, especially in Western countries, and they're deficient in iron. Yeah. And do you know what I'm saying? Mate, this is the irony. So iron is like the 4th most abundant mineral in our Earth's crust. Yeah. Yet there's so many deficiencies. B12. So 26% of Australians have low levels of B12, and only like 2% of the population is vegan. So it's not, and you know, I read an article the other day, one of the largest vitamin D studies, up to 58% of Australians have subclinical levels of vitamin D. Wow. You know, and it's only 2% of the population are vegan. So look, there is so much misinformation out there, and it's very hard to sift through all that misinformation, and it's taken me 9 to 10 years to do it. But the industry just creates a bit of doubt, and as soon as you've got doubt, people really start to question you, and they just shut down. They go, well, this guy's telling me this, like you said, this other health professional's telling me this. Well, I'm just going to shut down. I'm just going to do what I normally do, and I don't care, because I know someone who's been fine their whole life doing that, and that's how our brains work. But you know, if we really think about it and we look at the science, and I can tell you right now, my medical training taught me nothing in nutrition, but it taught me how to critically analyse the science, and that is the important part. So to look at both sides, have an open mind. That is a definition of being a scientist, to apply the same rules and logic to every bit of information that gets presented to you. you know, you can't pick and choose the science you want to believe in. You can't just believe that. You can't just believe that the energy and coal is killing the planet and animal agriculture isn't. We have to accept all bits of information, and we have to use that information to make the best decision.
Yeah, and I guess like you and I have spoken a lot because, you know, we've become quite good friends, and I think that's the key to everything. Is you went into this as a doctor who had a diet that was not a vegan diet to begin with, and you didn't go into this with a biased attitude. You went into this and researched both sides, and you could understand how to research things, and then you could make a decision,
An informed decision.
an informed decision based on that.
And yeah, it's so true. So I grew up in the country, eating meat and dairy. If it wasn't a meal, if it didn't have meat in it, it wasn't a meal.
Yeah, okay.
And you know, for me, it was just, I had meat with everything. I was eating hot dogs for lunch. I was drinking 6 litres of cow's milk a week. I'd have 2 3-litre bottles of cow's milk in my fridge, and I was just pouring it on my processed cereal every day. And I didn't give the environment, I didn't give my health, I didn't give anything a second thought. And it wasn't until I met my wife Sarah, who you've met, and who taught me to question the consequences of my actions, and just taught me to question things. And that's the important part, is to question everything, but also have the ability to weigh up all that information. And that's an important skill, and that's what medicine has taught me.
Yep, I think that's great. And rolling off from this, I think in the next part of this series, we're going to talk about the development of the human brain, and I'm really looking forward to that. And I think all you guys out there are going to really enjoy this next series, so stay tuned, because the development of the human brain is going to be our next series coming to you guys really soon. Thanks guys for watching, and thank you for your time, Dr. Andrew.
Pleasure.
Legend.